Tell them why you're making me sound like
she had this long brown hair and she had a Dave Matthews t-shirt. And she asked me.
I asked where the recycling was. What an awful thing to do.
No, she wanted to start a recycling program in our apartment complex in college, and I was like, that's so lame. I hate her. And also, you're forgetting this. She walked in, and I know you gave me that sandwich, but she did say, "Oh, and by the way, my boyfriend's gonna be staying with us." And then he came right in the door with his guitar and his long hair, and I knew I was never gonna like her. And then we were friends. So
then we became friends. We thought, what a fun thing to portray is female friendship and how you never know who's going to end up being your best friend. And we talked about the world that it should be set in, and that was drawn on some experience that Katie had in college. I should tell you that.
As a young college freshman, how can I say this? I had a phone sex line in my dorm room. Sorry, I did it. And the number was 1-866-FSU-TITS. Come on. Totally brilliant. It was basically vag bags. It was so good. And I was a virgin at the time, and I was like, what? Okay, sure, let's do that thing. And it was funny. And so we thought we could kind of use that as a backdrop and let that be sort of a world where the girls could find common ground and sort of have like a sex-positive film, as Jamie likes to call it, you know, let them find their voice that way and let their walls down, and yeah, that's that.
Okay, so we were discussing this earlier. Your very first phone sex call ever. How did you get into that?
Oh, well, that was funny because, well, I did it with my college roommate before Lauren, and it was a lot of Foley art. It was a lot of like, and mattress springs, and we were giggling and like putting it on mute and giggling, and I remember the girl from down the hall eventually came over, and the problem was there was no guys coming in or out, and there was a lot of noise going on in there, and she threatened to tell everyone we were lesbians.
Tell them about Google.
Oh yeah, and I Googled it was the beginning of Google. I just switched from AskJeeves.com to Google, because that was the new thing, because I'm dating myself here. Actually, I'm single, but I'm also dating myself. And I had to Google S&M. Literally, I didn't know what that was. I mean, and now there's like 50 Shades of Grey and everyone.
Because also you were really
I was really a virgin, and I hadn't even had sex, so I was... And
I feel comfortable asking this question after seeing the film. So
I actually have had sex now. Yes, thank you.
Okay, you have had sex.
I've had it. It's fun.
No, there was a lot of male completion in the film, so I want to know if your first call was successful with his male completion.
With his male completion, I've never called it that, but he finished.
Excellent success.
Woo!
We needed to know that. Does anyone want to start with a question? Yes, over here.
What was the craziest phone sex scenario that was ever brought to you?
Oh, okay. I'll just keep talking. Yeah, I mean, the threy-way was real. That felt kind of weird with my roommate and I, because it was like, what's going on here with this? And then actually someone asked me to send my underwear, which was when we started, we went to 579 or Rave or one of those cheapy stores and bought a bunch of thongs, and we sold them for $19.95. And then we were like, is this a biohazard? Like, are we gonna get in real trouble here? And so we quit. So yeah, that was weird. I think selling the underwear was weird. It was one of those where I put the phone and I was like, is this normal? Is this, you know what, we can do that. Yeah, we'll send them out tomorrow. And so that was pretty bananas, but anything you could think that's terrifying, that's what I heard on the line. So nobody calls to make love to a woman. So that's true.
What was a biohazard about it? What did you put on the panties?
Well, I mean, if they were... Jamie Travis,
I don't know.
Bodily fluids. If there was bodily fluids, it would be dangerous for the mailman. Yeah, we were supposed to. I mean, we were cheating a bit, which is why she uses perfume in the movie, because we cheated. We didn't really have phone sex with those men in general. We were like watching Dawson's Creek in the background and doing our homework. So.
Who's next? Yes.
That's my roommate from college, Julia Gafori, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey!
So, Ari, I want to know, did you have to audition for your phone sex call? Did you have to spark?
I only had to audition once I already had the role, and I was like, "Hey guys, want to hear me talk dirty to you?" But I don't know how I said that. But
Ari did not have to
I did not.
audition. We loved her for years and sort of wrote this part with her in our heads as we were typing. And so when we decided to make the film independently, she was our first stop, and we wrote her a love letter and told her how wonderful and amazing she was.
Which made me cry, and it didn't even mention my raspy voice. That was just a nice byproduct, I think. And then I wrote them a letter back saying that I was obsessed with them and their script, and then they cried. And then we just talked dirty to each other on set, but not in an official way.
Who's next? Yes.
Did your parents ever find out about your phone sex line?
They did. They did find out. They actually found out my senior year of college. I wrote about it in a personal essay. I was a creative writing major, and my final portfolio was sent home to my permanent address. And my parents were like, "Oh my God, I bet she did amazingly." And they went and opened the envelope, and they read the essay. And my father called me, and he was like, "But your focus wasn't in fiction." And I was like, "Oh, this is awkward." So I tried to level with him because he used to run an air conditioning business. So I was like, "So I'm just, entrepreneurial, Dad." And, it was an LLC. And he was just, shh. He didn't want to hear anything about it. So at this point, they're cool with it. I mean, I feel worse for these two because the things they're doing up there and the dildos, and I'm glad I'm not part of it.
Both watching it with our families next to us has been an interesting challenge.
During the writing process, Katie and I sent the script to my dad, who's a big movie fan and loves to read scripts and stuff. So we sent it to him, and his notes for the script were to think of more creative words for penis. Because we had said dick too many times. He was like, "What about schwanz?" or
Wang.
wang. And
He wanted wang.
dong. I was like, "Dad, don't, come
No
on."
one says dong, Dad. Everyone knows that.
So how did you come on board, Jamie? And did you immediately see this whole vision?
Well, I don't know that I immediately saw the vision. I got the script from my agent. I live in Canada. I immediately loved it, and I laughed out loud on almost every page, which is very rare. And I came down and I met with 3 of them, and they... Oh, right, sorry, I forgot the joke here. Basically, so I was coming down to meet with them and to interview for the movie, which was the first Hollywood script that I wanted so badly. And I met, actually Lauren ended up not showing up, but Katie and I met at Lady Gaga's birthday party. But Lady Gaga was not there. This was a missell. It was advertised as Lady Gaga's birthday. I was coming down to LA, palm trees. It's like, I was all excited, and she was not there. But Katie was there, and Lauren, I think, had a stomachache that day or something. I'm not sure. She wasn't.
My invitation must have gotten lost. Whatever. I was just meeting them recently too, so it's fine. It's not a big deal.
But I came down to LA and fell in love with them immediately, and didn't have an immediate vision when I read the script of, oh well, here's how it has to be. But definitely, it was more so that I was very clear what I knew what I didn't want it to be, or what it could be in its worst form if it went really broad or kind of objectified the girls in a really sexual way. And I think the 4 of us just really bonded over making the core of this a sweet female friendship story, which we feel there aren't enough of. So seems like there's lots of sweet girlfriends in the room today. I liked it.
Who's next? Another question? Yes, right here.
Do you have any other future films you guys are working on?
Katie and I do, but unfortunately it's a little too early to talk about any of it, but we do have other movies and maybe a little TV thing coming soon.
And if we have a sequel, I want to call it Redial, and I want to work with these people again and again and again, if it's possible.
I think the sequel should be when we're like 55 and still living together. And
I feel like our phone sex version of the Golden Girls.
and we're like alone, and
Two
she's
Jews
like,
in
"Do you remember
Florida."
Sean? I hated him. What a dick."
Oh, honey, I'm too tired to orgasm today. You do it.
My grandson is Ray Liotta's friend's roommate. That's my old lady voice, so I just had to, and I can only say Ray Liotta.
So in 30 years, you'll get a sequel.
All the way in the back.
Which one of you has the dirtiest mind? Like, who's the brains behind all the dirty words?
Everyone kind of took their
and actually, this is funny because some of the really, I remember on set, Lauren was writing some alternate jokes, and we had time we'd throw in alternate jokes. And I don't know, some of the things specifically offend me, which is weird. And so, are you a redhead? Like, do you have freckles on your dick? Came from Lauren, and Lauren's brother's a redhead, and all of it felt wrong to me. And you wrote that, girl, because I do not like that line. And so I was like, what?
Well, in the writing process, because like, you know, if you look, if you know the two of us, which you do a little bit now, but like, you would think that she would, but the greatest pleasure that I had in writing the script was, every once in a while we would break up for time management and write separately, and if I would show Katie some pages that I wrote that had some really dirty shit on it, that she would, if I could like make her uncomfortable, then I had succeeded.
Oh, and I tried to get out that I'm a squirter, honey line out of the movie so many times, but everyone loved it. It was so funny, and I'm like, you guys, I want to kill myself every time I hear that. It's so disgusting. And they're like, look on the internet.
I think Squirter was me.
Yeah, so everyone had their own like thing that was their thing that they thought was funny, so.